yeah. So I saw on your, the application that you sent in to be on the podcast.
Yes, yes.
It says here,
Uh,
Michael.
my mom calls me Michael, but most of my friends call me Mike.
Okay. So Michael then. Um.
Yeah, you can call me that. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So, looking through your resume here really quickly, first off, let's just say, hello, nice to meet you. Sorry, very busy nowadays, got a lot of stuff going on here at the No Fun Zone podcast. So, I appreciate you being a little flexible, but still we're just a little bit tardy coming on to the actual Zoom meeting here.
Yeah, I apologize about that, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
Okay.
All right.
So I had a chance to sort of glance over your resume earlier.
Yeah, thank you.
I couldn't help but notice I don't see any other podcast appearances. So you're trying to get on to, your first podcast experience. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
I make a lot of videos of myself on my phone at home and talk.
Are you on
But
TikTok? Are you a TikToker?
no, I just have my own feed on my, through Google Photos, and I just scroll through my own stuff,
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm looking for I think this is a really exciting opportunity, an opportunity that could be great and just amazing exposure. And I think this podcast is just so, who doesn't listen to the No Fun Zone? I mean, I've listened to every single episode, and so I'm just really excited, to get to talk to you,
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. So you would say you're a long time listener, first time caller. Radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try and keep this serious though. Let's not have the jokes in the interview.
Yeah, that was my fault. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. So just wanted to talk to you real quick before we have a lot of people wanting to sort of jump on this podcast, jump on this bandwagon.
Sure.
And
I believe it.
Well, thank you. But really what I want to get down to is what are you going to bring to the No Fun Zone podcast that nobody else is going to be able to bring?
Honestly, I think I bring a lot of energy. I bring a lot of enthusiasm. I'm ready to go every single morning, and I don't need a cup of coffee. I'm excited for opportunities like these that get me up and going and revved up and ready to just get at it. So that's really what I think that I can really bring to this team is a lot even more of that passion and that drive and that excitement and that, the crazy, crazy ideas. Because, I'm full of them. Just crazy.
Well, let's maybe not go too far down the tracks on that train there.
All right. Yeah, not just crazy about the No Fun Zone podcast. Really.
You know what? I like the enthusiasm, but also, we're not a morning radio show. We're not Shock Jock Radio. We don't need you to come in with just bells ringing and just, full stab going for everything at every time. So I want to find like a good balance of, we want to have good energy. We want to have positive energy, but not too much.
Yes, I definitely know when to hold them and when to fold them,
All right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and try that again because, we got a lot of people applying here. I mean,
all right. Okay. I've got this.
Okay. People here. It's just like, so. Yeah,
all right. I'm thinking of something that's very relative. All right. It has to do with relativity and relatives and all of that kind of good stuff.
Einstein, is he one of your relatives?
No.
Wow. So, all right. Let's change gears here. How about that? How about we do a little reset? and sort of make sure that you're sort of on page with kind of the No Fun Zone brand. You mentioned earlier that you've been a big follower of the podcast. What do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? Give me some feedback over the course of your viewing.
I really like that it seems to be an area where there's no fun. And, a lot of the times I enjoy no fun zones. So I think that's really positive. And then the one thing that's a little negative is sometimes I do like to have fun.
Okay.
So it's a conflict of interest sometimes.
Well,
but it's great, and I think that's what makes it unique and special, and great opportunity. And I'd love to work here, and so I'd love to answer any other questions to make you feel comfortable to hire me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think you might be misinterpreting sort of the irony of the name No Fun Zone, because generally we do tend to like to have fun. It's just so okay. All right, we'll move on then.
It's just no fun to have fun.
Yeah. Okay. Just okay. We'll just go ahead and move on from that. What can you do to sort of wow me and let me know that you are really, on Team No Fun Zone?
Well, I'm here to stay. I'm here to bring you the best version of myself every single day, and not only improve me, but improve how the little amount of fun that we have in this zone every day, and also at the same time have tons of fun.
So I'm gonna go ahead and back you up again there. I think you're missing the irony of the name No Fun Zone. It's not like we literally don't have any fun. We actually usually mostly have fun. It's just like a sort of play on words.
No, I get
this
it.
is the No Fun Zone.
I get
it. Okay, you get it. All right.
Yeah, I know, I get it.
Okay.
But I'll make sure to not be that fun, because it's the No Fun Zone.
Well,
but again, I get it.
You keep saying that you get it, but it doesn't seem like you're getting it. Because it's called the No Fun Zone, but it's kind of an ironic play where it really is essentially kind of
no, it makes total sense. Yeah,
we get serious sometimes, but for the most part, okay. Okay, you seem a little almost too eager, which is, I'm going to be honest, a little off-putting.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'm whatever.
Just the whole idea of a podcast is you got to be able to finish sentences with something other than
no, it makes total sense.
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't though.
It does, yeah. So yeah. Next Thursday, maybe?
Okay. All right. So yeah, well once again, thank you for sitting in and showing your interest.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Once again, you're cutting me off.
Oh, sorry. I was just sorry.
And again. Let me fit. With podcasts, it's very important to be able to sort of, allow space for the other person to speak. It's kind of a thing. So, okay. Well, thank you for your interest in the in being a guest on the very prolific No Fun Zone podcast.
A guest.
Yeah. Kind of a
wow, thank you so much. I feel honored.
I said a potential guest.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Thank you for your interest. at this point, nothing is really set in stone.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people clamoring
Yeah.
to sort of
No,
get
that
on.
makes sense.
So, it was it was good to sit down with you and sort of have this
Uh-huh.
this talk. And
Yeah.
we'll be making our decision here shortly, whether or not we want you to sort of come on board and be, a very, very small, guest role on this podcast.
Yeah, I look forward to hearing from you soon then.
Okay, yeah. So just do me a favor and then, don't call us, we'll call you. So,
Okay.
but I
I'll
mean,
give you a call if I don't hear from you.
if we decide to go in this direction of sort of more of that, intrusive, kind of awkward kind of content of somebody who is just jumping on top of other people's words and stuff like that, then maybe we'll reach out. But
I might know a guy.
okay,
If you're
okay,
looking for that. Yeah.
somebody who can just jump over everyone else's sentences.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
a guy?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll be in touch if we're interested. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
All
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to speak with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Take care then.
All right. You have
Okay.
a great day and great.
Okay.
Well, it's not Friday yet, but have a great weekend. All right.
All right. Yeah. 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 For sure.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you really soon.
Okay. All right. That.
All right.
That sounds good.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Fuck. But yeah, it's kind of a weird option to have in your guest bedroom.
Yeah. Well,
Just
we
have like a super tall table. It's not even like a normal size table.
No.
It's an extremely tall table.
Yeah. And it's wood, and so it slides terrible on that carpet.
Carpe?
Like the carpet.
Carpe.
It depends on what part of America you're in.
Where in America did they say carpe?
It sounds like just here in Boulder.
I would think like Louisiana might have some shit like that.
Maybe
Some of that fucking Cajun.
There you go.
You gonna spill that red wine on that carpe,
The
son?
carpet, son.
You gonna spill on that carpe?
The carpet. But yeah, dude, I want to get a nice little futon or something, some cheap little IKEA couch up there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, those video games. I've fallen off on video games so hard.
Yeah.
I haven't played a video game for more than 10 minutes in probably 5 years.
Yeah, I've stuck with them pretty hard.
Not as hard as Charlie, but
yeah, not as hard. But I've got a gaming PC, so I play hard enough that I've got a PC to play on.
Full equipment devoted to it.
Yeah, but it's so I can do cool shit like the new Forza that came out, and you can.
You sent me that video. It wouldn't play on my Instagram.
Oh damn.
Yeah. I don't know if I can.
I have a picture on my phone of one. The graphics are insane, and you can customize anything. It was an STI. It was an 08 hatchback, but
Is it Horizon 5?
Yeah. Yep. The graphics are insane on it.
It's so crazy. I mean, going from us growing up and having a PS1 or a Nintendo 64
or even a Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
To this.
I was sort of talking about this last night. We were actually we were talking about Teslas. And just like, I don't know, I was really high at the time. We just smoked a big spliff. And I was just kind of freaking out mentally about like How crazy is it that we are the generation that went from, like, you remember when your family got their first computer,
Oh yeah.
and you remember when the internet happened.
Oh yeah. I
And
think
then
about
now
that
we're
all the time.
yeah, and then now we're in this fucking world where just like we have rocket ships on
Yep.
tires that do, it's an SUV
Yep.
that does 0 to 60 in like sub 2 seconds.
Oh yeah, dude. I think about that all the time. That millennials are like have literally seen the biggest change ever. We were like the last generation to live a normal technology-free childhood without even having the option of like our parents getting us a phone until we were like 12 or 13. Like
Yeah.
there was not even an option
Oh,
for us getting a phone.
I didn't get a
Like,
phone till I was 16.
exactly.
And it was still a shitty T9 flip phone.
Yeah. And like
that could text and make calls
yeah.
and take the worst pictures ever.
Yep.
And that was it.
It's crazy.
And then now, literally, we have more computing power in our pocket,
Oh yeah.
significantly more than the computers that took NASA to the moon in 1969.
Yep.
We're in a generation. The only other generation would maybe be like the early 1900s, when like you saw the Model A come out, or the
Sure.
Model T.
Yeah.
When you, and also that's you saw in your lifespan, you potentially saw, if you lived long enough, the transformation of the Wright brothers having the first plane to people literally sending people to the moon.
Yeah.
Like that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
only other
Or
generation.
even just commercial fucking flying,
Yeah.
like just being able to get on a plane and go to Europe in like 14 hours is insane. Like they could never dream of that kind of a, a trek before. And now
Yeah.
that's just like, yeah, we're going to get on a plane. We're going to get drugged up, take some Tylenol PM, drink a bunch of shooters on the plane, and then hopefully we pass out for the next 12 hours.
Yeah, now it's become so casual.
Yeah.
Where like you used to in the 50s,
Oh,
you
yeah.
wore a suit to get on
Yes.
the plane.
Yes.
Now people are showing up in fucking Ugg boots, pajama pants,
Yes.
and just looking like the slobbiest people in the world.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
A lot of that in general with society. There's a huge like lack of not respect. It's just way different. It's just so much different.
Yeah.
I get that you don't need to wear a suit and tie to go get some milk. That makes sense.
But put pants on.
Yeah, but put pants on.
Yeah.
Like I was taught to not, wear like your sweatpants or your pajama pants or whatever you slept in to go to the store.
You have indoor clothes and you have outdoor clothes.
Yeah.
Is really what it is. And the phrase that's always stuck with me is, when you go into the world, you're presenting yourself to the world.
Yeah.
Make some sort of effort.
Oh yeah. Have you
Like,
ever heard of a first impression? It's
yeah.
like the first time that cashier you're ever gonna meet him, they're gonna look at you and say, "What did this guy do last night?"
If you walk outside and somebody cannot tell if you're homeless or not, maybe change your clothes before you go out.
Probably think about it.
Yeah, at a certain point. Like, and that's coming from somebody who, like, for the most part, dresses fairly sloppily. Like, I don't wash shirts that often. I don't wash pants that often. There might be a stain on a shirt, but at least I put on a shirt.
Yeah.
That's another thing, is fucking dudes that just walk around without their shirt on.
Oh yeah.
I don't care how fucking ripped you are, dude. I don't give a shit if you fucking look great without a shirt off.
It's hot. All right.
There's a fucking place and a time, and that place is next to water, and that time is the middle of the day to be outside just shirtless. You need to be by a pool, on a beach, next to a river. You need to be by a body of water, and it needs to be the middle of the day.
Yeah. Or else what are you doing?
Or the other caveat is if you're drunk as fuck and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and you're at a party, then it's like there's a little time shift that goes on there where it's like, okay, that's acceptable because you're in party mode. But if you're just a dude walking down the street,
party mode in general, it could be
things go lax when you're in party mode.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the time of the day because you can party any time of the day. So
that's true. Yeah. If you're in party mode, I get it.
Yeah.
Because you're just not in control. Yeah, the demon inside of you has taken over.
Yeah, you just can't hold on to your shirt. Yeah, it happens. It's happened to everyone for sure, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, it happened to me a handful of times. I was a zombie one time in college. You know, that was my Halloween costume.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say you were an actual zombie for a
No,
period of
no,
time.
no.
Because
Yeah,
that would have been fucking cool.
yeah. I tried, but no, they said I couldn't come to class anymore. But no, I went to this party, and so I had like my shirt all cut up and ripped and torn, and you know, to act like I had been like killed and I was dead, and then the party just went on longer, and people and I were in party mode, and my shirt just kept getting ripped to the point that it was nothing, you know.
You adjust the collar on left.
Yeah, yeah, and a bunch
You're
of
looking
fake
like
blood.
looking like a shitty Chippendales dancer with just the collar and just the cufflinks.
Yeah.
That's a great idea for a Halloween costume. A zombie that slowly transforms into a Chippendale dancer.
Chippendale would just be a Chippendale dancer in general. Would just be a great costume. Just
especially
go in with extreme confidence, you know.
and especially if you go the Farley route.
Yeah, yeah,
That's badass.
yeah. It'd be great.
If you go the Farley SNL route,
Yep.
you're next to Patrick fucking Swayze, who's just jacked as fuck, and then Farley's just
Yeah, it's all right. The dad bod's in, so it's all good.
The other Halloween costume I've always talked about is I don't know. I'm not gonna give it away. I'm not gonna say it out loud to the people.
It's too good
because I want to do it.
What's never been done before?
Not that I've seen.
Really?
I think it's an original idea.
And you're not gonna tell us?
Maybe I'll edit it out, but I'll tell you in person.
All right. You fucking great.
I had that idea like maybe 6 years ago. Circling back to technology. Yeah, what's up with that? How do microphones on phones still sound so shitty? It's literally, it's part of the name.
I know.
Microphone.
Well, it's not due to the phone. It's the other.
It's not micro camera.
It's the phone part is the 5% that you even use it for.
At this point, most people, yeah.
That's literally, you know, people use it. Not like if you compare all the apps, especially the phone app is probably the least used one, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
like when you think about that, the phone, it is a phone, and that's what you use it least for. You know?
Exactly.
You're on there to post shit. People are on there to take pictures. They're there to play games.
We should honestly rename these.
Yeah,
because they're no longer phones.
Yeah, we'll rename them Meta.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. We'll rename them Meta.
And we'll just be in the digital universe.
Yeah.
Digital universe.
Meta.
Digital universe.
It will be interesting though to see what it's like for us in the future.
How so? I mean, obviously yes, but
it's gonna. I mean, what other kind of things are we gonna see? You know, like we're gonna see some shit for
AI.
Sure. For sure.
AI is for sure coming.
Cars.
Self-driving cars.
EVs, all EVs, electric vehicles.
Yeah.
You know.
We were just talking about last night. We were talking about like when I bought my truck, I had a thought of this is going to be the last gas-powered vehicle I might ever purchase in my life.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Same with me.
Yep. Robots are coming. So the big argument, we didn't even get into like an argument, but a debate, a drunken high debate after going to the bars about how sick. I mean, my friend's point was how crazy and how extreme and how amazing Teslas are. And I get that. And I agreed. But I'm also like, I still love the feeling of driving a car.
For sure.
Especially a manual transmission car.
Yep.
And I'm never not going to love it. It's not that I'm not going to have to embrace the future of electric cars and self-driving cars.
Yeah.
It's coming and I'm not going to be able to avoid it. But that still doesn't take away the fact that just actually driving a car.
Yeah. I hope that that's always still a factor, even in the new vehicles, is that you can still fucking drive it. Like, I hope that they never get so autonomous that we're taking away the steering wheels and it's straight Minority Report and we're just like mobbing in pods.
I think at a point it's gonna
they
end
will
up coming
for
to
like safety. Yep.
Exactly. And that's really what it is I mean, think about how crazy it is that we are all traveling at 80 miles an hour on the highway all together in 3+ ton vehicles.
Oh yeah.
And have no communication except for a couple of lights on the side and the back of your car.
Yep.
And the fact that more people don't die driving
Oh yeah.
blows my fucking mind.
Oh yeah, you see so much shit. I saw shit coming up today, you know?
Yeah.
People slow down. They'll drop down to like 30 miles an hour on a highway to change lanes because they see an interchange coming up that's 1,000 yards away. It's like there's no
Yeah.
accountability for the one of the biggest and sketchiest forms of travel that we do every single day.
And then when you see the people that are out there driving, and so many times I'm just like, how are you even gainfully employed enough to own a car?
I know.
How are the standards so low that this person is able to drive?
Yeah, I'm not for all total government control, but I feel like at a certain age there's got to be 5-year increments, 10-year increments of tests where you've got to prove that you know some of the laws. Like if you turn 50, let's make sure we remember the laws.
Yeah,
You
totally.
turn 60, let's remember you
Or
turn 60.
Let's just take
70,
a little quick
like,
driving test, and let's just take a spin around the
exactly.
block and just
like
see
you
if you're
do,
competent.
and just like you do to get your driver's license, because that's all you do when you get your driver's license. You don't. At least me, I didn't go on some big crazy test. I merged onto a roadway, took a right into a neighborhood, took a left out of onto a more major road, made some lefts and rights, and
well, and that's just that's how Colorado's laws dictate the driver's license.
and
but
that's what else is always going to be different is the state laws.
all my friends from Massachusetts are like, oh, these are like, you're sitting in the car with a fucking, what do they call, a state trooper.
Yeah.
Like you take your test with a state trooper.
Oh wow.
And like
okay.
you have to spend so much time in class and doing in-person driving.
Huh.
Like it's super regimented, but a lot of those guys are some of the best, just like efficient minded drivers.
For sure.
And people, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily people from Colorado or if it's all the people that have come to Colorado in the recent years, but so many people don't know the simple rules of the left lane is a passing lane.
Oh,
it's not a lane to just be driving in. You pass people, then you get back over.
Oh, it's unreal.
You know, you don't use your brakes on the highway unless you actually really need to use your brakes.
Yep.
Like your engine can slow your car down. You know, like the more, it's so frustrating watching people do things that create the traffic that they're doing the things to avoid.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Like people who like wait till the very last second and then cut in a quick gap, causing everyone else to have to caterpillar backwards and like hit the brakes, and
not just speeding up and getting into the lane at the right moment,
merging at the speed of the lane that you're merging into.
Yep. I've always said too, a huge problem besides driving basics, especially on our highway system, is the fact that that we do have speed limits because people are afraid to push the boundary because they're afraid to get a ticket. And a lot of the times, especially when you're going that fast, you need to just, if you're going 70 and you need to go 75 to get around this guy because he's slowing down to take a turn or doing something, like you just mob to get out of the way and keep moving. But people are afraid that there's going to be a trooper down at the bottom of the hill that's going to give them a ticket.
And then you end up blocking the entire road where nobody can get around. And then you get the backup. Yeah, I've been pulled over for doing that. And I've explained that to the officer that's pulled me over and saying like, hey, I'm trying to pass this person as quickly as possible because I want to spend as little time in oncoming traffic on a 2-lane road. So I find my gap. I make sure it's safe. I use my power in my car so I can accelerate in the same lane behind him, get up to speed, get over, get the fuck back over into like, you know, the standard lane of traffic. And he was like, I understand that. And that is the most efficient and that's the safest way to do it. But I still have to write you a ticket.
Well, yeah, which is bullshit.
I'm just like,
it's like we're on a highway. We're not in a neighborhood. There's no kids running out into the street. We're not in a town where there's people turning out from a King Supers or whatever the case is. It makes sense in those areas. On a highway, it makes no sense to have speed restrictions when you're moving at high rates of speeds. Like,
I think part of the core problem with it is kind of Americans need / love to be told what to do.
I think people do in
There's-
general.
But Americans, I feel like, especially where like in Europe, there's a lot more of that sort of idea of personal responsibility.
I agree with that for sure, with drinking and things like that.
And
Yeah.
just like even ski resorts, there are no boundaries.
Yep.
They just say like,
Funneled
hey,
into the line.
if you go out this way, you may die.
Mm-hmm.
So you should probably know what you're doing over there. But if you want to do that, I'm not going to stop you.
Yep.
I'm just going to let you know that you might die.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Autobahn.
We also
Just like you can go as fast as you want. Just know in your heart of hearts that you might die doing 140 in a fucking BMW.
Yep.
That's a possibility.
Yep.
So if you're willing to take those risks, go ahead and take those risks.
For sure.
And part of it, I feel like, is the lack of what is it, litigiousness. The lack, like, it doesn't have a sue happy culture like America does.
Yeah.
Where America,
exactly.
It's
yeah, because of litigation. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was gonna say is like someone has sued for something because it wasn't posted the right way on a ski resort. But
absolutely.
you know, but
when you drive up skiing,
yeah,
how many billboards do you see on the way coming back down the hill that say injured at a ski area?
Oh yeah.
Call this lawyer.
Oh yeah, you see all the Backus and Shanker and everyone like that.
And it's funny because it's only on the way down the mountain.
Yep.
It's after you're coming back down to the Front Range.
Uh-huh.
And then you see them on the way up. It's just like, come to Keystone.
Oh yeah.
Buy a snow cone.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And then on the way back, it's like, did you get hurt?
Yep.
Sue those fuckers.
Yep.
And yeah. Or the classic case of the McDonald's lady who spilt the hot coffee that she ordered
for sure
on her crotch and sued for like fucking $4 million or some shit.
Yep.
Hold on, we got to pause real quick. I'm an idiot. Wait. This is a much more sort of chill lighting experience. All right, we can still use all that stuff though.
Oh, look, it froze with me picking my nose.
We're gonna leave that in.
I was like trying to be all discreet because we were taking a second here. Oh, it's back.
Are we going? Oh, what? Hey, camera, work or don't work?
Yeah. It's currently not. Oh!
Dude, what?
You're just gonna have to sit really close.
So for the remainder of this podcast,
is it honestly working just when you're standing up? What the fuck?
It was totally working before.
Yeah, I know. Stand up. It's gonna work again. It's working again. It's only freezing when you sit down.
There's always fucking something, dude.
Yep.
There's always fucking something.
So did you watch that shit?
Squid Game?
Yeah.
I did.
What'd you think?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was really good.
I
think it deserves its hype.
Yeah, totally.
It was definitely worth watching.
Did you watch it dubbed or in Korean?
In Korean.
Subtitles? It's the way to do it.
Absolutely. I've watched some other I watched another different series dubbed or a movie dubbed, I mean, and it's nowhere near as good as watching it in its real language.
Yeah.
It's just because of the acting, like if you have good actors, then they're going to do a good job. Even no matter what language they're speaking, they're going to portray what they're feeling or doing at that moment.
Well, they're going to do it when they're doing it in their language, they're doing it within that same culture.
Yeah.
So it fits better and it makes more sense.
100%.
Versus like when it's like a very Korean style kind of acting, and then you just have like, what are you going to choose?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. It doesn't fit.
Yep.
I watched it in Korean with subtitles, and I just like tried to watch the first episode with it dubbed.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm out.
Yeah.
This isn't the same. There are some things that can be dubbed. If it's dubbed well, I think it can work.
Yeah. That one was definitely needed to be watched in Korean though.
Yeah.
It was so good with them everything about it. I loved all the twist in it. The other really big thing that I liked about was all the foreshadowing. There was tons of foreshadowing.
So much.
There was tons of clues. There was tons of hints. There was tons of shit where I went back on Google after finishing it, and I was like, "What did I miss?"
13 things you missed while watching Squid Game.
Did you watch the one where we witness all of their deaths, most of the main characters that like we get to know. When we return on episode 2, we
Oh yeah,
witness all we pretty much witness all of their deaths.
yeah. When
Like-
they're like sort of reintroduced back into society.
Yeah, and
then
like the gang member jumps off a bridge,
yeah,
like
and then
in that episode.
Spoiler alert, by the way, for
Yeah,
everybody who
We've
might
already
be watching.
Yeah,
If
too
you don't
bad.
want to hear fucking, I don't know, skip ahead. Maybe I'll put a timestamp in here. Maybe I won't.
yeah.
But either way, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, then
That's your problem.
Where the what
That's
are you
honest.
doing?
It's your problem. We're months deep, so that's your problem at this point. So
Um,
yeah, did you know that one? Like, and even his mother's death. So like in that episode, they get dropped on the side of the car, on the side of the road, and he promises that chick that he like won't hurt her if he uncuts
or
her.
he won't. No, he won't.
Like-
he won't try and get the money that she
Yeah.
stole back from him.
Yeah.
Or back from her.
Yep. And he says he swears like on his mom's life.
Yeah.
And then he like goes on back on it like right away. And so like that's why she dies. And yeah,
Yep.
the gang guy, we see him jump off a bridge. The chick that like loves him, the crazy chick, hers is foreshadowed in a different time because we don't see her like in real
How did
life.
she die again?
She takes the gang member down. And
Oh,
so
that's right.
after she gets done playing
Spoilers.
tons of them. After she gets done playing tug of war, she like goes back up to him and tells him about like how powerful she feels when she like leans back and like leans her hips back and lean back. Like she like literally talks about how powerful
And
she
then
felt.
that's how she pushes him
And then
off.
she grabs him and
Leans back.
and
Yeah.
takes him with her. And then
Yeah.
like Ji-hoon or not Ji-hoon, San-woo, who's the second to last one.
Yeah.
He's like portrayed
His
like trying
friend
to
from childhood that
Yep.
they used to play Squid Game together. That's all foreshadowed at the very
Yep.
beginning of the series.
and he's trying to kill himself, and he's like laying in a tub trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
And then in the very last scene, he's laying in a pool of water
Yeah.
because it's raining,
Mhm.
and he kills himself.
Yeah.
You know, and like they foreshadow everyone's.
Well, and all the foreshadowing of the master player number 1,
Yeah.
like
Oh, those are amazing.
that's where I think, all those other ones, those are very subtle and very, interesting. I think they leaned a little bit too hard into making sure that you knew that, like, I don't know, when the big twist and the big reveal, spoiler, that number 1 is the
Yeah.
master.
Yeah.
When that happened, it didn't hit me that hard because
Yeah.
they had sort of leaned into it and made it kind of so obvious.
Yeah.
Even though like you're supposed to sort of, he's the only character that you don't really see die on camera.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's very subtle in itself, though.
Yeah.
There's some really
But
fun
even
ones about him.
He
that
knows
they did.
all the games. He
Yeah.
knows exactly how to play everything.
Yep.
They even foreshadow it with that first game, the red light, green light game,
Yeah.
where he's just like,
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like smiling. Yeah.
like,
Did you know too? Like she's scanning and his body doesn't get
yeah,
scanned.
yeah.
There's a lot of good shit with him about that.
And then the one scene where I was like, oh shit, is when they're playing the marbles game.
Yeah.
And he pretends to have dementia, or maybe he actually does have dementia, but it seems like he pretends, because then at the very end he goes like,
Oh,
no,
he was pretending.
I know you fucked me over.
Yep.
I know you've been cheating.
He wanted to see what he would do.
Yeah.
He honestly did, because he developed a relationship with him, and I think though that was
Yeah, they did.
They
did the fucking pinky lock.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They did all of it.
We are brothers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or whatever it is.
They did everything, and then but I think it was a strategic exit for him.
Well, but he tried to be strategic by being the one who didn't get picked.
Yeah.
And then the crazy chick fucked it up because nobody wanted to fucking play with her.
Yep.
And then, what's his name? Jin-soon?
Yeah, the main guy
Yeah.
who wins.
Then he goes to him.
Yeah.
Player number 1.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a very cool sort of take on a capitalist culture and
Yep.
just like the things people do for money. That's the very obvious, like, surface level.
For sure.
But then also morality.
Yeah.
And like even the person
The value of life.
and the person that you're sort of rooting for from the very beginning, Jin-soon, he's still such like a flawed character throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
But you're still rooting for him because he's sort of the best out of all these shitty people.
Yeah.
Where everyone else is just, for the most part, kind of a bag of garbage, especially the gang member,
Yeah.
that crazy bitch.
Oh yeah.
The other good character is Ali.
Yeah, Ali's awesome.
Yeah,
I
he's
also,
actually like genuinely super good, and then that other guy fucks him over in the Marvel game.
Sanbuk, I think was her name. She was pretty not she wasn't a terrible person.
She's the North Korean one.
Yeah.
But
she wasn't
she
a
was
bad
also
person.
she was also the person that initially pickpocketed Jin Soon
Yes.
in the very first episode.
Yes.
But
Do you
she
know
was
how
also
much-
but she was doing it so she could get her mother and father back from
Yes.
North Korea. So it's
Yes.
like it's a complicated thing of like, yeah, sometimes good people have to do bad things to get good results, and
Yeah.
sometimes good people end up doing bad things.
Yeah.
Like
I was
cheating
cheering-
over the old man.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. For sure.
It's a good, complex, moralistic kind of narrative and discussion, or at least
Definitely.
it fosters that. I guess.
Definitely. And I think she though was made to be a likable character because
Yeah.
everyone we all like because Sing-Hoon, I think Sin-Hoon,
Yeah, something like that.
Jin-Hoon. No, it is Jin-Hoon. It's definitely like with a G. I haven't watched it in a minute. Ji-hoon. I
Just
think
us
it's
throwing out
Ji-hoon.
every possible
know.
Asian sounding.
Yeah.
Sung Woo, Sing Chong,
It's Ji-hoon.
Sain Wong,
But
Shun Li.
yeah, because he takes care of her brother at the end of the day.
Yeah,
You know?
Well, I mean, overall, like, yeah, that main character is overall kind of ends up sort of being the moral background or the moral backbone of kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even in the last game where he doesn't kill his childhood friend.
Yes.
You know, he chooses to like, oh, let's just forfeit the game together.
Yes.
We can vote at a majority, and neither of us will get the money, but neither of us will have to die.
Yep.
But it's still like, I like that it doesn't portray the good guy as wholly good. It's not a black and white kind of character.
For sure.
And none of them are. They're all sort of a mix of both good and evil.
Yeah.
Because that's what, that's the one I've talked about this before, but that's like kind of one of the main gripes I kind of have with Lord of the Rings is it's so clearly distinctive of just the good guys are the good guys and they're going to win no matter what.
Yeah.
Regardless of the situation, and the bad guys are orcs and they're fucking monsters and they're groveling and they're fucking scurrying around and doing shady shit.
Yeah.
And so like the line of good and evil, it's only really explored within like Boromir.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Everyone else is for the most part not a one-dimensional character, but in terms of like the plot narrative,
it follows a very strict archetype.
Aragorn's a good guy.
Yeah.
The hobbits are good guys.
Yeah.
Gandalf is a good guy.
Yeah.
Saruman is a bad guy. Sauron is a bad guy.
Yeah.
The orcs are bad guys. The Theoden is kind of in that category of sort of being a little bit in between.
They definitely needed for some more, and it didn't even, because like Squid Games is almost edgy conflict and stuff like that, but you could
it's
still,
more in your face. For sure.
But in I was gonna say that at first, that maybe it was just a time thing when that was written, but still, even just some smaller personal conflicts of like just conflict in general of someone being two-sided and not knowing if they can be trusted with around the, and like you said, Boromir was kind of very, very smallly floated around with that, but nothing dramatic like Snape and Harry Potter, who is like still there's arguments of whose side Snape was on still,
I think it's pretty, my interpretation is it's pretty definitive that overall he was playing the bad guy.
Yes.
And he was doing the what do they call that, like in spy culture? He was a double agent.
Yes.
He was very much, he did a great job of just convincing what are the Death Eaters. The Death Eaters.
Yeah.
He did a good job of convincing him he was one of them and going to extreme measures to do so.
Yep.
But overall, I think he was fighting for the side of Dumbledore's army.
I agree. 100%. I think Dumbledore was his number one.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, and also Lily.
Yes, that too. And that's what.
And that's why he protected.
Yes, and that is truly what ties it in, is his love for Lily.
Yeah. I'm gonna go grab a beer real quick. Do you want one?
Yeah, what you got?
Odell's IPA.
You got anything else?
That's all I got.
I'll still drink it.
You'll still drink it?
Yeah.
All right. We're in the no fun zone.
Yeah.
Trying to cultivate nothing but fun. Although a lot of my my podcasts end up being too serious.
Yeah. Just like what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, we just like, I don't know, me and Danny nerd out about like ancient civilizations
Sure.
or like religion
Yeah.
and things for way too long. I'm surprised anybody even listens to this.
Well, podcasts are an interesting world, but that's what's so cool about all that shit. People are interested in all sorts of shit. You can connect to people all over the.
Quote that. People are interested in all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
My claims.
They are though, bro.
Yeah, dude, fucking people are interested in all sorts of shit, man.
They are. They'll go around and they'll sit on the internet and just sit there and surf for hours on end, and then they'll find the no fun zone and they'll be like, "Oh fuck, this guy's funny," and they start listening to it, and then they're
Jokes.
they're like, "Oh man, I love that religion,"
Oh, it's usually us talking shit on religion.
Oh yeah.
It's usually not pro-religion.
Or I wouldn't expect it to be.
We can get into it if you want.
Yeah, but them Mormons,
Mormons, Catholics. It's all the fucking same, dude.
No caffeine if we're Mormon. If you're a Mormon, you couldn't have your coffee.
I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out. Oh, I'm out. Yeah.
If you're a Catholic, you can't have fish on Fridays. What if I feel like having a fish on a Friday?
It's only during Lent.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was
Who knows?
yes. I don't know. That's the other thing is I'm speaking out of my ass on a lot of this shit.
Okay, let's get a better ones. To compare to Mormons, I think.
If you're a Hasidic Jew, if you're a Hasidic or Orthodox Jew, you cannot mix any milk product, any dairy product with any meat.
Yep. Okay.
And what the real origins of that
no
are,
biscuits and gravy.
No biscuits and gravy, no cheeseburgers,
Tons of noodles, pastas,
and especially
sauces.
if you're fully Orthodox, you can't even put the two dishes that are dirty in the same dishwasher.
No.
Some Orthodox Jewish people, like really like heavily Orthodox people, will have two separate dishwashers for washing dairy dishes.
Do they have the braids?
They got the curly sideburns.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Orthodox.
That's Orthodox. Also some Hasidic Jews have that, but like the whole idea of like all the shit. I watched a video, I think it was in Bill Maher's documentary Religulous, where it was if you're Orthodox, you have to observe the Sabbath, which means you can't use any electricity, you can't turn anything on, you can't use any sort of modern convenience. But the workarounds that this guy had made to his house to make it livable. So basically, he had a phone that was wired in such a way that the signal, it's constantly trying to dial every single number, but within it is a disinhibitor or an inhibitor that is preventing it from actually dialing. And then when you plug something into that number, it inhibits that which is inhibiting the number from trying to dial. Which is kind of weird because it's also, I can't remember in one of my...
so it's not working if they're all inhibiting each other?
So it's constantly trying to dial every single number at all times, but there's something that's inhibiting it from dialing the number. And then when you insert a plug into that number, that plug inhibits the device which is inhibiting the phone from dialing that number. So you effectively dial the number, but you're not actively dialing the number. You're inhibiting the number. You're inhibiting the thing that is inhibiting the number being dialed.
To travel with time?
No. He's trying to figure out how to work in a modern world while observing these traditions that have been around for 6,000 years of you're not allowed to work on the Sabbath. Which is just like, if God is that finicky and particular, then maybe I don't want to go to heaven because I wouldn't be able to touch anything.
Yeah.
That's like going to somebody's house who has severe OCD and you're not allowed. They'd be like, oh, no. You got to make sure you put that right there. No, and actually do me a favor. Don't touch that. And make sure you take your shoes off before you come in. And I'm going to go ahead and need you to wash your hands 15 times before you actually start touching anything. You know what I mean? Like
That would be
if
crazy.
those are actually God's rules of like you literally you have to take this one day to
I'm
not
out.
do anything, this is just too much.
I'm out.
This is just too
Yeah, I'd
much.
be out.
I want to chill God.
Yeah.
And that's why Jesus is cool, because Jesus is a fucking hippie.
So what do you think? What's your base? This is a pretty bold and open-ended question, but
I like him bold and open-ended.
what's your last final thought on religion? Not final thought, but your biggest thought about religion and why it was created. Then, like, do you believe it was created as far back as it was to, create just people to follow a certain way?
So I've got a a boundless number of thoughts
Yeah.
to be able to
That's why
answer
I said
that.
it's a
So
pretty bold. That's why I said it's a pretty bold, open-end question.
one thing, um, our ancestors 100% were exposed to psychedelic substances, mushrooms, ergot, things of this nature, that they were experimenting with food sources. One of the theories that I think it's McKenna has is, I want to say it's Terrence McKenna, might be somebody else, but the stoned ape theory, where that's where humans sort of cultivated how our brain sort of functions, especially with sort of pattern recognition and um, being able to use symbolism to describe things.
Okay.
There's a theory that apes, when the vegetation and uh, um, the eco culture that they lived in, like when the rainforest went away, monkeys had a choice, or I mean, our previous ancestors had a choice to either stay in the trees and
Yep.
evolve into monkeys, or start walking the plains and experimenting with different food sources and then end up being humans. It's maybe likely that they just randomly found mushrooms and had no context into what a psychedelic was, and they ate mushrooms, they tripped their balls off, and then they come back saying that I had this extraordinary vision and I saw God. That's one explanation. The other explanation that I
That's
find,
super legitimate.
yeah,
That's super legitimate.
yeah, it's definitely it's a known thing that at some point,
Someone could have easily just picked a mushroom to eat to think it was a food source.
oh, exactly,
Yeah, like with no intent, but like you just,
they were looking for food and then they found God.
Yeah. Yep.
And then maybe
Yeah,
they
yeah,
sort of, and there's a lot of stuff in early Christianity and early Judaism that maybe sort of point to that. Moses speaking to God on Mount Sinai through the burning bush, which is believed to be the acacia bush, which is rich in DMT. So when you think of a burning bush, there's going to be smoke involved. If they were literally just burning a bush that's rich in DMT, you could maybe extrapolate from that they were smoking DMT, and that's how they communicate with what they thought is God. The other thing,
Okay.
as far as like ancient religion goes, I personally believe that it's sun worship and it's astrology based. So when you look at the nighttime sky, if you go out into the desert, into the high country, and you don't have light pollution,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the only thing that's changing, and you have no context as of how you can explain it because you don't have science. You don't understand that those are stars.
Yeah.
Humans need to find, our rational brains need to have an explanation for everything, regardless of whether it's just made up, interpreted, or whether it's an actual true, the idea of the God of the gaps theory of anything that science can't explain, we just attribute to God.
Okay.
When we didn't have science, we attributed everything to God. So all the movement in the stars,
Okay.
that's where the idea of heaven and earth comes from, all that. But I think primarily sun worship and following the celestial patterns
Okay.
of the sun. So like if you're going to go down the Jesus route, at the winter solstice, when it's the longest night of the year, the stars that are coinciding with the sun is the crux, which is shaped like a cross. It dips below the sky for 3 days straight, and then the sun resurrects itself and the days become longer. So it was more of a marking of the celestial year.
Okay.
And then when Jesus is resurrected around Easter time, that's when you plant your crops. And then the idea of him dying on the cross, dying with the sun goes to its lowest point on the horizon for 3 days out of the year, when it's coinciding with the crux constellation, the cross.
Okay.
So that's the symbolism of Jesus dying on the cross. He's dead for 3 days and then being resurrected.
Huh.
And then sort of moving. So I think it's all a game, not necessarily all. Like I'm more spiritualist. That's the douchiest, most bolder thing I've ever said in my entire life. But I get the idea and the notion of thinking that there's something out there, that there is sort of like a purpose, or like whether you call it the universe or whether you call it God.
Yeah.
But in terms of just like what religion has sort of been handed down, I look at it more of like a game of telephone, where it's myths that have been translated and, you know, told verbally and orally for thousands and thousands of years. Things are gonna change. So that's I have more of a problem. I have no problem with, like, you know, most Christian believers, but fundamentalist Christians that think the world is 6,000 years old, you're out to lunch.
Yeah.
You're out to lunch.
Yeah.
So people that believe the Bible, to me, I have a copy of the Bible that I read from time to time because I do think it's interesting. It's more of like, I read it more of like sort of like a fiction book. Like, this isn't a documentation. This isn't a historical context.
Yeah.
For that, I would go to like Herodotus from the Greek world, who was actually like the first historian and documenting things, you know, verbatim as is. Whereas I look at the Bible much more of like, these are kind of fairy tales that have a moral teaching sort of underpinning them, which can usually make you into a better person.
And so here's the biggest question, though, of those things. Why then is the Bible so well recognized? Why, when you fucking show up to a hotel, is there a Bible of all books? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a crazy thing that it's just it's made its way, because I agree with you on a lot of that stuff. I think a lot of that has validity and makes a lot of sense, like with people just thinking different things. And especially, I think one of the best words you used was context. Like, if you don't have the context, like, it's so easy for us in this day and age to question. Like, if you question something, there's usually some sort of answer. Like, we could literally, like, you told me earlier, Google that shit, you know?
Right.
Like, you could literally go and Google it. If some fucking person came up to you and was like, look at the way those stars are lined, God told me that if you look at it this way, like, you know.
So that's a little simplified, where I think it's more of just like over thousands of, I mean, humans have had the same anatomical brain for 250,000 years.
Yeah.
It's not something that just like one guy said like, hey, look at the stars, I think that's God. It's
obviously.
I think one of the big reasons.
But how does the Bible work its way into that spot?
Well, when you look at early Christianity, it was highly persecuted. Where like early Christians, you know, they talk about all the martyrs of early Christianity.
Yeah.
And in Rome, they would be sent to the Colosseum to be gladiators and essentially be sacrificed. There's a long history of Christianity not taking hold. I think the key moment is when Emperor Constantine took over, or basically he converted to Christianity. According to the history that I've read, it was from a dream that he had where God spoke to him and told him that this is the true way. And then he started marching through Eastern Europe, and that's why it's called Constantinople in Turkey. He started marching through bearing, you know, the cross on his flag. And then he established the Holy Roman Empire.
So there was one guy.
So there was essentially one guy who like
there was one guy
who essentially sort of kicked it off.
Told you.
And changed. Yeah, fair enough. But I'm saying like overall just religion development. It wasn't just one guy.
I didn't even say it was.
No. But as far as how Christianity spread.
And was that one guy high?
He might have been.
Right? You know what I mean? Why not?
Yeah.
Exactly. You know?
Well, but then he founded the Holy Roman Empire, which, if you look historically,
yes,
the Holy Roman Empire took over, and the Catholic Church took over Europe for
and that's where civilization was in the world.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool.
That's at least just Western religion.
Yeah.
But then also, why is Buddhism has been around as long as this.
Sure,
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Other religions have been around. Part of it is, all the Abrahamic religions, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. They're all based essentially on the same foundations.
Yep.
That's why they're called Abrahamic religions, because they're all, essentially the tribes of Abraham.
Sure.
Father Abraham had many sons,
Yep.
and many sons had Father Abraham. All the shit you learn in fucking Sunday school.
Catechism.
It's just like I think that just happened to be the religion that ended up essentially taking over the Western world for the better part.
Which is also based on one guy.
Yeah. But it took over the Western world for the better part of almost 2 millennia.
Sure.
It was about
400
or 500 AD that
which
Christianity
makes an impact.
And then also when you look at the historical the way that the Catholic Church has corrupted the idea of, so when I read the Bible and I read the New Testament, Jesus Christ, whether he was a real person or not, that can be debated. But if he was a real person, seems like a fucking rad dude. Seems like a cool fucking dude to hang out with.
Yeah.
He's chilling with prostitutes. He accepts everybody. He's a liberal hippie cuck. You know what I mean? If he was alive today, he had long hair and a long beard, and he was just preaching peace and kindness to the world.
Yep.
If he was around in Trump's America, he'd get beat up in the fucking streets. You know what I mean?
Or he'd get some good money.
Depending on where he lives.
Yeah,
if he lived in Portland, he'd be the most popular guy in town. If he lived in fucking Dallas, Texas, maybe not so much. But there was I want to say it was Thomas Jefferson, took a copy of the New Testament and basically took out all of the references to divinity towards Christ and all of his miracles, and he released it I think it was called The Moral Teachings of Jesus of Nazareth.
Okay.
And it's a really interesting read because it's just basically hey, be a good shit. Don't be a dick to these people.
And Thomas Jefferson pulled these out?
I don't know if it was Thomas Jefferson, but it was one of the founding fathers in that that time period.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly who did it.
Abraham Lincoln, son of Abraham.
Father Abraham Lincoln had many sons. Abraham Lincoln was gay.
Says who?
Says a lot of historical documents.
Did he have a first lady?
He did. Mary Lincoln. But he was writing fucking love notes to another dude.
To his best friend?
Yeah. He was secretly gay. He was
Full
a closeted
circle.
gay. Anyway, so what was I going back to? I was circling around into something good.
Jot that one down. I need to come back to that.
You need
Jesus.
to Google that?
Yeah.
You can Google it. It's fact.
Hey Siri.
What was I fucking getting to? Something
Religion.
about, obviously. That's the most vague way of trying to jog my memory.
Jesus.
Oh no,
Hippies,
I was going back to
Portland.
the if you look at the history of how the Catholic Church has changed what it means to sort of if Christ came back today, and when you read what Christ says, and he says it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get a seat at in the kingdom of heaven. And then when you look at how the church operates, of all the tithes that they had in the Middle Ages, you had to pay them money to be buried on church property, otherwise you're going to hell or you're going to purgatory. You need to give 10% of your money to the church, otherwise you go to hell or you go to purgatory. The way that and when you just look at the cathedrals and
Sure.
the literal thrones that priests and popes and bishops sat in, and the lavish life of luxury, there's no way you can reconcile that with the teachings of Jesus in the Bible. He was a guy who walked around in rags, going from town to town, just spreading his word.
Yeah.
And then the Catholic Church, as humans do, and this is more of how humans corrupt the overall general message.
Sure.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The Catholic Church had absolute power to the point where that's the only reason why the Bible was only written in Latin for over 1,000 years. It's because nobody could read Latin except for if you were a clergy member. So they had the ultimate power and the ultimate word of God, and we get to dictate to the masses what you believe. And you can't question us, because if you do, we'll call you a heretic, and we will fucking call you a witch, and we'll burn you at the stake
Yeah.
if you disagree with us.
Oh yeah.
And then the Protestant Reformation came around in like I think the 15th century, maybe 16th.
We gotta
You
run
know,
fact check after this.
Martin Luther published it. You know, it was the perfect time where the printing press from Gutenberg had just been invented, and they were able to actually like print the Bible in essentially the common tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the Catholic Church sort of lost their seat of power. That's overall what I was trying to get to.
Interesting.
So that's why I've and also when you I've watched Catholic not ceremonies, but I don't know. I watched one Christmas Eve. I watched like I can only call it a ritual, like the Catholic ceremony for Christmas Eve. And this is after I started sort of researching, like, you know, the idea of magic, like magic with a K, and like the dark arts and sort of like devil worship and like
Sure.
Aleister Crowley and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same fucking thing. It's a ritual. It's a magic ceremony, and it's a ritual to invoke a feeling in people.
Sure.
It's when you really look at like just the way things are phrased, the way things are sort of like very ornamental and like bringing in fucking candles. It's very reminiscent of like a satanic ceremony.
Oh yeah.
Which is super fucking weird to me. It's almost like
that's how
they've gone.
That's how religions are in general, though. I feel like.
Yeah.
Like
it's all ritualistic magic.
Exactly. I mean,
really
like if you and like any of that, I truly feel like is just that's what religion is. I mean, it is going somewhere every week ritual. You know, that's that's a ritual in and of itself.
Well,
is
and
going
the
to
singing,
the same place.
the
Oh
singing
yeah.
together, and
oh for sure.
Oh
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. No, it's
and now you may all be seated.
Yeah.
For I will bring you the word of God.
Yep.
And blessed be to those who listen and heed my words.
Especially in this day and age, we know like you're some pastor who you're another person in this life. It's like I know it's just so different. It's amazing how different it is. And like I was raised Catholic and like learned Catholic religions, and my family's Catholic. My parents still go to church, and like, but I don't go to church anymore. And like I went through all that, and it's not that I don't believe. It's religion's just so different in this day and age. Yeah. I think there's so many people like myself and you and others that like we grew up in a modern day where, especially in technology again, is such a huge factor of all of that, because the fact that like any question you have, you could fucking Google it and look it up, and like all of that. Religion was so much of, like you said, of them, especially back in the day, being like, if you don't pay us to, you know, to bury him here,
it's like the mafia.
Yeah. And like, but now,
hey, you guys,
it's I'm not fucking dumb enough to give someone money. It's like when fucking Morgan's brother gave them money at Las Vegas to take a picture. It's like, dude, no,
you already have the picture.
That's the oldest book in the trick.
And
that's
that's
the oldest book in the trick.
That is the oldest book in the trick. Another saying by Mike Lambs.
Thank you. I'm good.
The oldest book in the trick.
Yes. It's a catch. It's a catch 32.
No, but that's really actually a good metaphor. He already has the pick.
Yeah.
You already have God within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to rely on this organized structure to give that to you.
If he's so holy,
you have that within you.
Yeah, you have
and
that.
You
already.
can find that within you, and you know, go read the Bible for yourself. And that's essentially what the Protestant Reformation was like, oh no, you don't need these fucks to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You don't need these.
Yep.
You can just go find it out for yourself.
Catholic religion goes probably even deeper into that too, with that, because to have a mass, you do need that person, you know? And
it's literally
like
called
you said,
mass.
And
you need the mass of people coming in.
Yep. And you need them, and then you need that one person too, you know? But it's like any of that shit, like, you know, and of course this is the other really interesting thing about religion. It doesn't breed bad people. It And like, look, I mean, do you think I'm a bad person? Like, do you think my parents are
No, but
bad people?
that's the
Like,
same argument that people make of like sort of anti-atheist. Oh, if you don't believe in a God, then you have no morals. I believe that morals are built within you by how you are how you were raised.
right. And I think to that, all of that, the biggest point of all of that is your religion doesn't mean anything to your
Towards your
own
morality.
personal morality.
You
You
can
have
be-
a moral compass inside yourself, and you either use it to go the right way, or you use it to do wrong things. And like, your upbringing, obviously everyone's upbringing has a strong influence on your moral compass. But I it's way more than religion. It's family structure. It's how you learned to treat other people, how people supported you, how but back then they didn't have like fucking none of that. They had no structure, they had no nothing. Like, we're so much more independent as people now to be able to have our own house, have our own resources, go to a grocery store to get. We don't rely on the fucking church to feed us bread and water so that we can make it through the next week.
And whereas when we were evolutionarily starting out, we were tribal people that needed that strong leader to look to.
Yes.
But it's interesting that so many people still today still have those twinges of feeling like they need the leader.
And it'd be interesting to know. And exactly, I agree. And like, if you have a good leader in your home that teaches you and that's what's so different about life now, is because we're not a mass, we're not a village, we're not a tribe. We don't rely on one another. Our mass, our tribes is our family and close friends, And so like, the people, your leader, I mean, obviously there's that religious background still, if God is God, but your leader, at least in my opinion, was like my dad, and he and my mom, and they led me and my sister to build our core values.
Yeah.
So it's like,
no, totally.
It's you don't have that, and there's no one other that can control you or fear you to being like, you have to do this, like they could back then too,
Totally. But yeah, we still do. Like, while you were saying that, I was looking at your Broncos hat and thinking that still is like a sign of that sort of tribalistic nature that we all have built evolutionarily within us.
For sure.
That's why sports teams have their following. It's just like, oh no, that's my team. Yep. That's my tribe.
Yeah.
I'm part of that. And if you're on that other tribe, then fuck you.
For sure.
I fucking hate you. You like the fucking Rams?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a fucking idiot, dude.
Yeah.
You don't know what I know. And that's so much of what religion has, or at least religious like wars and encounters have been. It's just like, oh no, my God's the God. No, my God's the God.
Yeah.
No, dude, my God's the God.
For
no,
sure.
Fuck you. My God's the God.
Yeah, my God said this was my land.
Yeah, exactly.
No, for sure. And I think that's one of the other core elements of humans, which is competitiveness. People who don't say they're competitive or that you're being too competitive.
It's built within us all.
It is a core value of humans. Yeah. Wars were a huge fucking competition,
Oh, it's
just a giant competition.
It's just comparing dicks.
Yep.
Who's got the biggest dick in the tribe?
Yep.
Okay, I guess that dude's our leader. And on that note, I think we have to wrap this up because we got to go catch a fucking movie. So yeah, we'll call that for now.
All right.
Maybe once the movie's done, we can still do that little
cool
that bit idea that I had. But if not, whatever.
All right.
Yeah, because we got to get to fucking jet setting. We got a fucking Dune movie to catch.
Let's go.
All right, fucking. We'll just. Yeah, I'll figure out a sign off.
Yeah, later. Have a good night.
Like what he said.
Yeah.
He's good at those.
Take it easy.